Hey y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 16. We're at the finale of season 15. Not a terrible season, but not a great season either. I would say all together so far, well, you know what? I'll give y'all my letter grade at the end of my review. But this season so far has been a disappointment. I really thought after the first 3 episodes things were going to be different, but I was wrong. We opened the episode with Drew in her confessional after the divorce announcement and when the cameras went back up. We then go into a greatest hits of her and Ralph's tumultuous relationship and how they got there. We see lying on both parts. I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but this is a supersized episode. They tacked on an extra 15 minutes for good reason. They go into the episode with a timeline. This is January of this year. We then get a quick montage where all the ladies are up to, and then we're with Sonia as she's going back to see Dr. Jackie. Oh, and they also let us know that the big finale event that everyone's going to is Candy's movie premiere. Well, the premiere of their movie trailer, The Pass, which is on Peacock. I kind of gagged a bit. Go ahead, Candy. I know that made you feel silly when she said in the last episode she only wants to do Lifetime movies and above from now on. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it yet, but y'all check out Alexander Rogers' review of it. I'm sure it's going to be a hoot. But anyway, we're with Sonia. She's visiting Dr. Jackie for another checkup. She brings Marlo with her this time around, I guess because Ross couldn't. It's interesting that she would choose Marlo, over her sister, her mom, maybe her close friends that's not on the show. Marlo. Okay. And I think this is actually the first time we've seen Marlo and Dr. Jackie on screen together. It's just interesting. And also, I love a Dr. Jackie cameo. But anywho, she's just letting Sonya know how her pregnancy is going and still giving her the disclaimer that the baby is still in its formative stage. And maybe that was foreshadowing for later, which we will see at the end of the episode. So next scene we're with Drew, she's chilling in bed. Ralph comes in to join her, and we find out that they've been sleeping in separate rooms, and Ralph is blaming it on Drew's filming schedule. But now that that's done, they're still not in the same room, and she asks him on camera when is that going to happen, and he says he doesn't know yet. I mean, here they go again, acting on camera. So then they just move on from that conversation, and she lets him know about cousin Courtney calling her a bitch behind her back, since she has the footage now thanks to Manetta. She shows him the footage, and he's like, well, the other ladies called you a bitch before. Didn't Kenya call you a bitch, Candy? But for real, I hate to agree with him, but Drew has gotten into it with pretty much every other woman on the cast. So I'm pretty sure she's been called a bitch to her face and behind her back. But regardless, Drew feels some type of way that Ralph isn't immediately on her side. Now, what I gather from this is, y'all remember a few episodes ago when it was Marlo who was kind of talking shit about Ralph or throwing shade? Drew couldn't wait to bring that back to Ralph, and now she's doing the same thing with Courtney, but now that it doesn't involve him, it just involves Courtney calling her a bitch, he doesn't care. So that's the narcissist, I guess, in Ralph. Now, let it be Courtney says something about Ralph, then I think he'd have a problem with it. They're going back and forth now, and since Drew didn't get the response she wanted out of Ralph, she storms out the room. He then follows her into the kitchen where her sister and assistant are, and now he's playing the role of the concerned husband now that he has an audience. Drew then tries to bring her sister into the argument, and of course she has her back, but then Ralph says, well, didn't you call her a bitch? Ugh. And then just seeing Drew's sister go back and forth with Ralph as those knives were in her hand, I was just a little uncomfortable because it just felt like it could go left at any moment. And you can tell that Ralph was holding back a lot from going off on Drew and her sister. I was mostly thinking, thank God the cameras are there. So then Drew gets more upset and she storms out the kitchen and asks production to unmic her, knowing that, the cameras are still rolling, sweetheart. We're seeing all of this. Ralph then goes up to her and asks, why are you crying? As if nothing happened. There goes the gaslighting. And then she's like, how could you embarrass me? And she starts crying and goes upstairs. Drew's sister then goes up to Ralph and asks, what is wrong with you? Can't you see she's fucking crying? Why can't you understand? Then she goes running after Drew upstairs. That was a very uncomfortable scene. I think the most uncomfortable I've seen those two together. And there's been a lot of moments, y'all. I really feel bad for Drew, mostly because Ralph is a narcissistic asshole, but they really be going tit for tat with each other. But next scene we're with Sheree. She's leaving a doctor's appointment. She's with her eldest daughter in the car, and What Sheree said to her daughter, I'm just like looking at her with a side eye. She's talking about when she get bills in the mail. She said they get it when they get it. Oh, Sheree. You are on camera, girl. Someone that's notorious for not paying bills saying that they don't pay their bills. But I digress. Of course, they're talking about the sip and see and some of the awkward moments. One of them being Bob as well as Martell being there at the same time. And then the mystery daughter, who Sheree's daughter already knew about. And Bob isn't even her dad. She's still close to him though. And she met them at Bob's mom's house at a family dinner. But yet she didn't tell Sheree. I'm still curious about the timeline. I hope they get to the bottom of that at the reunion. So Sheree's daughter met Bob's daughter, but when was this? Was this like recently? Was this like seasons ago? Did Bob know about the daughter when him and Sheree were together? Like questions that need answers. We cut to her confessional and she tries to make the case that the kids would know about the daughter because she doesn't speak to Bob, hardly ever. So of course they know, but she still thinks it's weird that he wouldn't tell her that. Regardless of that, I'm still side-eyeing her kids for not letting her know. Sheree's daughter tells her she thought she knew already, but she didn't. And then, Bob said that he started bringing her around earlier, but again, what's the timeline? Sheree says she doesn't fault her kids for not telling her because that wasn't their responsibility. It's Bob's. I don't know about that. Y'all let me know what y'all think, but I think the kids are dead wrong for not letting Sheree know about that. Child, and now they just laughing about it with each other. I guess. Next scene, we're with Kenya as she's with her daughter Brooklyn. Brooklyn's very cute, but Kenya's solo scenes have just been so boring. I mean, it's not the first time productions cut out a cast member's event. But anyway, Kenya's dad is there, and she's telling us that their relationship has gotten better over the years. We then get a greatest hits of him telling his daughter how it is, especially when she was getting her house built, and he said, "You don't want to hear what I think." She then tells him that she possibly might use the embryos that she had with Mark to have another child. Now, her dad doesn't pull any punches when he tells her that that's a bad idea, and you almost died the first time you were pregnant, with Brooklyn sitting right there with them in the room. I was surprised he said that, but he has a point. But then she said, well, that's why I'm thinking about using surrogacy, which I still think is a bad idea. Like, have a kid, but why does it have to be with Mark? Like, don't continue that man's DNA, especially when he's been an asshole to you and y'all are still battling in court. I hope present day she changed her mind. I mean, is it such a bad idea to just adopt instead or go with another donor? I mean, because Mark was basically a donor. There wasn't no love in that marriage. Kenya then says she doesn't know what she's gonna do right now. We then cut to her asking her dad, does he want any of the breakfast that she's making? The face that he made, looking at those eggs. Can Kenya not cook? Cause damn, her dad be shading the hell out of her all the time. Next scene, we're with Marlo at Le Archive. We haven't seen that place in a minute. And she has her date, Scott, coming over to visit her. She says they've been dating for 2 months now, and still there's no title. They're just dating. But are they intimate? That's what I want to know, because I don't believe it yet. I don't. I'm sorry, Marlo. It's giving Walter. Okay, so they chilling, and I'm seeing him kiss her on the forehead. That was believable. It's more believable than Martell and Sheree. But the bar's in hell with that one. We then see Marlo get an invite from Candy to the movie premiere event, and it looks like she's going to bring Scott Lee with her too. Oh God, here we go. Next scene where we're Drew and Ralph as they're going to therapy to see Dr. Ken. They go in acting like a happy couple, but I'm sure that's going to end shortly. So the session starts out with Drew saying that Ralph just hasn't been going to therapy with her. Ralph thinks he doesn't need it. He's been working on himself. The changes he said he made was he left the room that they're sleeping in. Dr. Ken then says he thinks there's a disconnect. You think? Thank you, Captain Obvious. Is that why they're paying him the big bucks? Drew and Ralph are still going back and forth on why he's not sleeping in the room. He says it's actually liberating, and then Drew says, well, the kids are starting to ask about it. He calls her a liar. Drew then pulls up the text message her son sent her, and I was on Twitter, and somebody thinks Drew is a liar. They said that they think Drew texted herself from her son's cell phone. Now, that would be going overboard. But would I put it past Drew? No. But I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here. They're still arguing. Dr. Kent tries to interject, but Ralph stops him to say that he's just feeling liberated. He can smell the roses now. He can now reap the benefits, which I was wondering, what benefits? And what does he do for work? Does anybody know? He then brings up the reason he's in a different bedroom is because Drew likes to sleep in 82 degrees. 82 degrees, Ralph? Really? Now, I can see if you said like 75, but 82? Ain't no room in the house supposed to be over 80 degrees. He is full of shit. And I'm surprised you didn't say anything. The room is silent while he came up with that excuse. Like, he pulled that right out his ass. And Dr. King can only stare at him. It looks like he's trying to gaslight everybody in the room to thinking like things are just fine. What he's doing is normal. Ralph then tries to make another example about Drew's best friend and her relationship, saying that her and her partner sleep in different rooms and they're fine. They've been together longer than we have. Drew says, and they filed for divorce. Then Ralph says, who doesn't file for divorce? Now, if I was Dr. Ken and he said that, I would have said session over. But instead, Dr. Ken asked them, is this somebody that you want to be with? And we don't see them answer the question. We just go to commercial break. Next scene is the night of Candy and Todd's movie announcement premiere. We see everybody arriving. We get another cameo from Tiny. Always great to see her too. We also find out that Drew got there a little earlier because she'll be doing a performance later in the event. Great. Side note, we see Sonia and Ross arrive, and when Ross got out that car, I was like, damn, he fine. Anywho, we see Cynthia arrive looking fabulous per usual. Also, thank you, production, for letting us know that that's not Cynthia's date that she arrived with. As a gay man, let's just say, I need you to tell me that. I could tell. So we have some more cameos. We have Shamia, and God, if I see that Jean Paul Gaultier outfit on one more person. And then we see the one and only Mama Joyce with one of her infamous wigs. I'll allow it. And the fact that she's there supporting Todd and Candy means it's a step in the right direction to her. But her being there to support Candy and Todd is a step in the right direction to Candy. So the star of the movie, Drew, comes down to greet the ladies. Like, she even greets Courtney, gives her a hug, and then Courtney goes to hug her sister. Her sister was like, no. I'm like, damn. Apparently her sister is feeling some type of way that she called Drew a bitch. The thing is, to me, like, if Drew didn't have a problem hugging Courtney and being fake, her sister probably could have followed suit and not make a scene in front of everybody. So Courtney suggests to talk to her sister on the side, and her sister is really holding her accountable. She's like, I saw you on the video calling her a bitch. They're going back and forth. And then Drew comes over to de-escalate the situation, but then she's trying to hold Courtney accountable too, since her sister is on 10. Her sister's giving real Mallory energy. Remember Mallory, Cynthia's sister? Like, she is not having it with Courtney tonight. Even though Courtney's backed into a corner because she did say the word bitch, I do think in reference to Drew, she still wasn't calling her a bitch in like a disrespectful way. She was just saying, this bitch questioned me. Again, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, especially to make a scene at the event. But that's just me. I know we hate Courtney, but I'm just trying to be fair. Her sister didn't really have to be involved. It looks like Courtney's trying to cop to the fact that she said the word bitch, but Drew's stuck on the fact that she lied about it, which is ironic to me because Drew's trying to get on somebody about lying. We cut to Courtney's confessional and she says the only reason she's apologizing is so Drew can just shut up about it. They're going back and forth now. Drew is saying, just don't call me a bitch again. Courtney's like, getting all amped with her hands and stuff. She's now asking her sister, didn't you call her a bitch before? And her sister calls her off for talking to Ralph. And I'm like, has Courtney talked to Ralph? Do they just talk separately one-on-one? I don't know. I'm starting to believe that rumor that Courtney and Ralph were never cousins in the first place. Wouldn't that be scandalous? Anyway, this argument's going left very fast. Both ladies are now doing this with their hands. We then see Kenya move right in between them as they're arguing, saying, excuse me, these hands are doing the most. But they still keep going at it, and then it kind of just dissolves when Drew decides to sit down. We cut to Science Confessional, and I agree, it's just not that deep. Really. We then see Manetta arrive, which, didn't even notice she was there in the first place. Marlo then arrives, followed by Sheree. And Sheree, child, this wig, these bangs. Oh my God. She really came to this event with this disheveled platinum blonde wig. Okay, so now we see them premiering the trailer of Candy and Todd's movie, The Past. I saw the trailer and the movie looks terrible. I also heard from Alex, who confirmed to me that the movie is terrible, so watch at your own risk. I mean, they made it in 10 days. How good y'all thought it was gonna be? Later on, we see Drew getting ready for her performance now. She's proven to the ladies that she could do more than a woo 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 when she was singing background for Candace. I still think it's hilarious the lady says she gave a woo woo because I automatically think of, will you woo woo woo? So Drew hits the stage to perform. Fast forward, I already saw it once, I don't need to see it again. So as Drew's performing, we get the end of the season cards for a few of the ladies, starting with Candy. Hers says, even though Candy didn't take home a Tony this year, she's not giving up on her EGOT dreams because she's going to be producing The Wiz on Broadway, followed by her and Todd's movie The Past being available to stream on Peacock, which is still a gag to me that she pulled that off. For Sheree's card, it says, despite the rumors, Martell and Sheree are totally committed to saying they're just friends. I mean, we knew that was fake from the beginning. While her many attempts to heal the group failed, she was able to heal her fibroids. Good for her. Next up is Marlo's, and it lets us know that she hasn't expunged Scottley from her life just yet. She's continuing to work on expunging her criminal record, blah, blah, blah. The only door she's breaking down these days are the systemic biases against foster, blah, blah, blah. So we get the Kenya's card, and it looks like production showed a glimpse of her salon opening after all. We didn't see Claudia Jordan in it, though. But it says Kenya's continuing to grow her family of hair products. They have a sense of humor, I guess. The Kenya Moore Hair Spa recently celebrated a soft opening, and the world's longest divorce just got a little longer. Mark recently moved to have Kenya held in contempt of court. Child, they're gonna be fighting well into 2025. So Drew finishes her performance, the party continues, we see a big group photo of all 10 ladies, and I'm sure y'all noticed they didn't do 2 end cards yet, Drew and Sonia's. So then the screen fades to black, all dramatic and shit, and they let us know that season 15 wrapped filming on January 28th. So then we cut to when the cameras came back up on March 1st. Right after Drew and Ralph raced to the courthouse. We're then seeing a couple of ladies' reactions, mostly Marlo's, because we know she's going to give the messiest reaction. Well, thank goodness for the show that all this drama happened after filming wrap, because it would have really been a sucky season if they ended on that note. And shout out to Love B. Scott being a mainstay for all the headlines being shown on the show. We get Kenya and Sonia's reactions, and both of them are sad for Drew. We're back with Marlo, and she calls the next messiest person after her, Sheree, to talk about this tea. They're talking about how they were racing to the courthouse, and Marlo, she compares it to Mario Kart. Like Drew threw out a banana peel so she could get there faster. And now Marlo's telling Sheree that the streets is talking. And allegedly, they're saying that Drew is now talking to Ty on the side. Ty is this lesbian who was with Mimi on Love and Hip Hop. She is a former WNBA player. She was also at the movie premiere party. She has a lot of swag. Yeah, Ty fine. I don't blame Drew. Marlo and Sheree are talking about this as if it's fact. I mean, we still haven't confirmed that, but I guess we'll find out at the reunion. We're going through the ladies' confessionals, and it looks like they've all heard the rumors about Drew and Ty. Next scene, the timeline is now March 3rd. We're at Sonia's house, and she's laying in bed. Her mom's coming in the room. They're talking, and this is a very sad scene. We found out that she lost the baby, unfortunately, and it was a very traumatic experience for her because she was out of town, not with her husband. She was at the hospital. She thought she was gonna die, and she's telling her mom, her disappointment. She told her mom that it took a while for her to even tell her son, and when she finally told him that he was crying too. This is a really heartbreaking scene. You can feel her sadness through the TV. But we get her title card, and it said that her family moved out the house, even though they're only 10 minutes away. And her and Ross immediately went back to trying to grow their family, and they're pregnant again. Hopefully this time around everything goes smoothly, and she has her rainbow baby. So next up, we have 10 minutes left of the episode, and it is all dedicated to Drew and Ralph. We see her coming in for her confessional after she filed for divorce. She's getting her mug beat, and she's still really emotional about the whole thing. Afterward, we see that her face is perfection. Whoever that makeup artist is, he did a really good job on her. But in the meantime, Sheree is in the other room and she goes in to check on Drew. Also, I forgot to mention, before Sheree walked in Drew's dressing room, Drew was on FaceTime with Kenya, and Kenya was telling her that if you need any support or anything, that she's here. And I thought that was really nice of Kenya. I mean, of course she knows what it's like. Hell, Sheree knows what it's like too. She tells her the same thing. So we see them talking, and I thought this was a really sweet scene. Sheree putting her beef with Drew to the side to just say that she's there for her. And then we also found out that Sheree's dad passed. We didn't find it out until Drew mentioned that her dad was really sick. So now they're both consoling each other, and it was a nice moment. I mean, y'all know it's rare when Sheree displays any type of emotion, and I believe those tears in this scene. So then shortly after, Drew is finally in the hot seat and production is grilling her about her divorce with Ralph. She's getting emotional already. Now, I was talking with a friend earlier and they thought that Drew was actually acting in this scene as well. I didn't believe that at first, but as the scene went on, I could see what they were talking about. Meanwhile, we see Ralph sitting down with production, so we're going to be going back and forth between their answers. You know, there's two sides to every story. Well, in this case, three, because there's the truth too. So Drew is saying that the last straw was Ralph having inappropriate relationships with other women, and then there was Tampa, you know, his Floridian secrets. Shout out to Alex. Then we cut to Ralph, who said he's the one that asked her for a divorce. He says afterward they got into a huge argument. Production asked him what was it about. He then asks, can he talk to his lawyer to see if he can answer that question? His lawyer says no. And then we cut to Drew, as she was about to say specifics, then she calls her lawyer. Y'all notice how similar they are? They really are a match for each other, a match made in hell. They're really not giving us any new tea here. I feel like they brought the cameras back up for nothing. Hopefully they give us the real tea at the reunion. And as they're going back and forth between answering, we see their stories are contradicting each other. That's why I said there's three sides to their story. So now production's letting us know that in the middle of interviewing Drew, at 8 p.m., Mimi Foss from Love and Hip Hop posts a story suggesting her ex, Ty Young, and Drew had an affair. Drew's phone is blowing up, and it looks like the story is definitely going viral. They then ask Ralph, is there a relationship between Ty and Drew? He says that there's a friendship, but he can't say anything more. We then cut to a surprise confessional by Courtney. She is talking about the rumors that Drew is bisexual. She says she asked Ralph, why are you talking to Drew's husband? And what is the real relationship between y'all? And she's talking about Drew being bisexual as if it's fact. We cut to Drew, and this is the part where I kind of agree with my friend that maybe she is acting. She turns to her assistant smiling. Is it everywhere? Like she's glad that she's being talked about. Like, weren't you just crying and boo-hooing earlier? Like, she looks like she's excited that she's going viral. They go back to Courtney now, trying to get the tea out of her. They're asking her, what do you know about Drew and Ty? She said, well, I know that she visits her, like in Texas. And also saying that Ralph has discovery, meaning he has some sort of evidence proving that Ty and Drew were messing around. So as cameras are down during Courtney's confessional, she has a hot mic moment where she's saying she has pictures of Ty and Drew. She's like, you guys shouldn't leave me in here with vodka for a long time. And then what she says after this is what has everybody talking right now, because it was pretty vile. I mean, don't bring up her kids, like, as well as the adoption thing. She said, well, now we know why she was pressing him so hard for the adoption. You know, go adopt my kids so I could go be in my gay relationship while you paying the bills. That was kind of low, Courtney, like even for you. And I want to know, how is Ralph paying the bills to begin with? What does he do? And also, I don't blame Drew if it was on site for Courtney whenever she saw her, because that was below the belt. And of course, Courtney knew her ass was being filmed. Like, I hope she don't go to the reunion saying, well, I didn't know I was mic'd. I didn't know the camera was still recording. Bitch, you knew. So the credits are rolling now. We have like a minute left. Production is now asking Drew about her relationship with Ty. She is all smiles right now, and I don't know what's the truth. Production then asks her point blank, are there any truth to these rumors? And she says that Ralph started this rumor, which is believable, but then again, like, Drew's a liar. And then we see her end card, which says Ralph has apologized for his role in the disintegration of their marriage, not to Drew, but to People magazine. And then Drew and Ralph continue to cohabitate in their home and co-parent their children. Soon afterward, we see production like unmic Drew, and then she goes into crying again. And scene, literally, for the actress. And that's where the episode ends, y'all. What a disappointing season. I mean, Drew and Ralph are both liars, and it's just really hard to feel bad for her because we don't know what's the truth. What a season. I think I would give it a... Oh, man. I mean, I was still entertained. I was bored some episodes. Overall, I feel like I could give it a C-. Not a D+, a C-. I'm gonna be nice. That's my nice letter grade for it. I definitely feel like there needs to be a reboot. I am tired of Candy's stories. I love Candy, but I'm just tired of her stories. I'm tired of Kenya's stories. I think Marlo is, she can only do so much. Sheree can only do so much. Sonia, she pretty much is silent the entire reunion, it looks like. And Drew is a liar. I've been wanting her off the show. So I just think they just need to reboot the entire franchise. So the reunion is 2 parts, which is crazy. Atlanta hasn't been 2 parts in years. I want to say since season 3 maybe? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The franchise is in trouble, y'all. But with that, I'm going to start editing. Hopefully I can get this out tonight. It's Monday night right now. Wish me luck. With that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the reunion. Bye.